Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, Mysterious Cameraman, and today we're talking about why Gotham Season 3 is still the best. So, for the past few months now, I've been doing all the Gotham, DC Legends, Flash, Arrow reviews for each season, and now that I'm officially at, what am I up to? Gotham Season 3. If you've ever seen these videos, you know that I don't actually do like the way I've been doing all the others, going through the episodes. I'm not doing that. Instead, what I do is I kind of just talk about the season as a whole, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video today. And yeah, before we get into it, if you haven't already checked out Fan Film Finder, it's a very quick form if you want me to review any fan films. I know I'm very behind on it, but I'm going to actually begin reviewing fan films from it very soon. And yeah, besides that, let's jump into this review. So I had very high expectations for Season 3, and I'll say it did not disappoint in any way. This season's pretty much perfection. I love so much that the season ends up doing throughout, and I just feel like this is a very strong season overall. I love a ton of what this season does. Yeah, I just feel like this season does a ton I just feel like they do so much that's well done. I'll say the start of the season I don't love pretty much anything that happens when Jim isn't a cop. I don't remember exactly what episode he becomes a cop again. I think it is pretty late into the season, I think. But I don't like Jim being not on the force. It doesn't suit his character. So I really don't like the episodes when he isn't on the force. I don't remember exactly what episodes they are, but I do know that, I do remember it happening, and I don't remember loving it very much. I'll say I'm a huge Jervis Tetch fan. I think his episodes are extremely good. I think specifically his Season 3, Episode 6, I believe whichever one Jim has to go through is Huge Trials. I love that episode so much. I love the idea of Jim having to go through all these trials and eventually have to choose between these two people that he loves. And I love the idea of Lee being a plot point throughout the season. I do really enjoy Lee being a very important character in this season because we actually get some good development and a plot from her. I also like that Tetch, who seems at first like a one-and-done villain almost, kind of becomes a huge deal throughout the season. And I actually really enjoy that. I love how Tetch begins to really become a huge deal as the season goes on. And especially the virus. I love the virus being the big plot of the season. The Court of Owls I don't love. I don't hate it either. I think the Court of Owls is one of the weakest or weaker parts of the season. I will say another thing I love about the season is the whole rivalry between Riddler, Penguin, and all those characters. I love all of them, how their entire plot goes on throughout the whole season. I love how it goes from one thing happening to another thing happening, and how Riddler basically kills Penguin and Penguin kills Riddler. It really does do some very good things with the plot. And I love how the plot is also structured. I feel like it's all done in a very interesting and compelling way. Because I just like a ton of what... I think that's the thing. I just love a lot of what this season presents. I think when you look at the first two seasons of Gotham, Season 1 was messy, to say the least. It ended bringing the season together, sure. But it wasn't great. It had strong points, but it wasn't amazing. I think Season 2 is stronger. I think this is the strongest season thus far, though. I love a ton of what this season does, and I also like how it has the Tetch virus as a really compelling villain. I love Episode 20 as well, when Jim is locked into the coffin. And I also like 21 and 22 when Jim is under the virus. I think it's a very interesting plot point. I think the Executioner plot is fine. I don't think Captain Barnes could have stayed any longer than Episode 2, though. I do agree with that. Than Season 2, I mean. Season 2 was a very good season for Barnes, but that's kind of all they could do. I like that they realize that Barnes is kind of out of use, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we're done with Barnes, let's dump him. And they did that. So I think that was a very good decision on their part that they made, because I think if they kept Barnes around, I think this season would have actually suffered a ton from that decision, because I think that he's just such a good character that they shouldn't be like expending like that almost. Yeah, though, I think this season really is strong throughout. And I stand by that saying, I think this season does a ton that I really do enjoy. I'm currently very far into season 4 at this point, and I'm going to say my thoughts on it when I eventually get up to that part of the journey. But I do think season 3 does such a good job at paying off the other seasons. I think what's so cool is at this point in season 3, they finally feel comfortable doing like the back in time episode. So I like when he gets the powder and he gets like drugged, because I think that's such a good internal episode for Jim. I think Jim is a very strong character throughout this entire season and show. I just don't like him when he's not on the force as much, because I think I love his relationship with Barnes, and yet I think the other thing with Barnes is he turns very quickly. And even though I get how he's fighting the virus, but the virus doesn't bring out that side of him, I feel. I feel like it does very interesting things when it wants to. Like, the virus kind of works however the writers want it to. And that's the only downside I think you have to it almost. But I do like the idea of Lee getting it. I don't get why Lee took it. I guess she was like trying to figure it out for herself. And I do like that Jim killed Mario. I like everything that happened between Jim, Mario, and Lee. I'll say I don't love Mario's character. I think I don't know if they purposely try to make him not that good of a character, but he isn't that interesting, to say the least. He's a pretty, like, bland character, and he does seem like a jealous... Like, I don't see why he's such, like, a good person, because he's kind of just, like, mean in a ton of the scenes he's in, including to Lee. He's, like, very, like... He doesn't give off a good vibe, I feel. But I don't love his character, but I think besides that, I think every character in this season is very well done. I think Lee in this season is probably her strongest season at this point. I think what this season does is I think season 1 is Gotham at its heart, and season 2 goes into the more wacky stuff, but it doesn't go that dark, I feel. I think season 2 still is a little bit lighter, and I think you see that. I think this is the point where it really goes into, like, the dark side of Gotham. Because I feel like season 2 still had some, like, whack stuff. But at this point in the show, they're really in the dark part of the show. But I do love a ton of what this show does. I think the idea of the Tetch virus being utilized by the court is good. I don't get, though, how people don't realize the court has destroyed Gotham twice. That's another thing. How do they destroy Gotham? Like, that's just a very odd writing decision, I feel. But I think there are some plot holes in this season. But overall, I think the biggest issues I have with this season come with the court. Because I think it's an interesting idea to make the Court of Owls the main villain, sure. But what I don't love is the fact that they make it such a big plot line. I wish they toned it down. I wish they did more interesting stuff with it. This season does have the gentle art of making enemies. It has a star, the Riddler, so it has a ton of good stuff. Overall, I think this season is very strong. It's the strongest season thus far. And I don't think there's much more for me to say. I think these reviews, I can give it quick thoughts. These are my quick thoughts. But I don't think I really want to talk about it much more. I think you kind of have to watch the season. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.